Right. Take a look at page 67. Okay. I will look at some of the question relating to the modern MA. Okay. This is questions on ABC. Okay, the requirement that they want us to do here is to work out the full cost per unit for product ABC, and then using the traditional absorption and using labor hour as a basis of apportionment. And then B, they say calculate the full cost per unit using activity-based costing. So you just got to repeat the absorption part in part B, part A, and then repeat in part B. And then they say using the calculation in A and B, explain how activity-based costing might have helped the gadget to improve profitability of their product. Now it says that the gadget produces 3 products, A, B, and C. Now all made from the same material. Now until now, it has used traditional absorption to allocate overheads to its product, and the company is now considering an activity-based costing in the hope that it will improve profitability. Now information for the 3 products for the last year is as follows. So they've given you A, B, and C. Now the production and sales volume, selling price per unit, the raw material kilos per unit, direct labor hours per unit, machine hours per unit, number of production runs per annum, not per unit, per annum. Okay, number of purchase order per annum, number of deliveries to retailers per annum as well. Now the price for raw materials remain constant throughout the year at 1.2 per kilo. Similarly, the direct labor cost for the whole workforce was 14.8 per hour, and the annual overhead costs were as follows. So they've given you the machine setup costs, running costs, procurement costs, as well as delivery costs. Now part A is very simple. They just want us to work out the full cost per unit using the traditional overhead absorption. Right, 3 products, ABC. Okay, so full cost will start with what cost? Your material cost and the labor cost, right? The material cost is given at 1.2 per kilo. Then multiply by the number of kilos. Whereas the labor cost is 14.8 per hour. Then you multiply by the hours. Okay? That's your prime cost per unit, and then you bring in your production overheads. Well, overheads will be your OAR, and they want you to absorb using labor hour. Right, that's your full cost per unit. It's pretty straightforward, right? So the labor rate, okay, the OAR based on labor, we will work out the formula. Alright, now for material cost, 1.2 times 2 kilo, so 2.4, then 3 kilo, 3.6, 4 kilo, 4.8 of labor cost. Multiply over with the hours. So 14.8 times 0.1, 1.48 per unit, then 2.22 and 2.96, so 776, 582 and 388. That's your prime cost. So if you want to find what's your overhead, you've got to first find what's your OAR. So please get me the OAR. So you're going to use your traditional overhead, right? That means you're going to take total overhead divided by the total direct labor hour. Am I right? So your total overheads will be the one you see, lor. So 26,550, 66,000 for 48,000, then 54,320. That's your overhead. And what's your total labor hours? You got to calculate on your own, right? Because you know how many units of ABC that you're making, and you know one unit how many hours you'll be using. So you're going to have 15,000 times 0.1, so it's 1,005 hours. And 12,000 times 0.15 is 1,008. And then 18,000 times 0.2 is 3,006. So 2655, 664, 48, 54320 divide by 1,005, 1,008, 3,006. We're going to get 28.3 per direct labor hour. So convert it back to per unit, 28.3 times 0.1, 28.3 times 0.15, 28.3 times 0.2. That's it. So you're going to get 2.83 4.245 and 566. So 671, 10.065, 13.42. Okay, this is not a very difficult part, right? That's really easy, 5 marks. Bonus, 5 marks bonus. Now part B, now they would like you to work out again, but they would like you to switch to activity-based costing. So your full cost per unit using activity-based costing. So again, A, B, C. Well, I don't have to calculate all over again, right? Because we already have the prime cost. So I'll just take the prime cost per unit, which is 388, 582, 776. Right, then you bring in your production overhead. Well, this time you need working under activity-based costing. Right. So you will need to first find what's the cost driver rate. Okay. So the cost driver rate is you're going to use your cost driver. The cost drivers are quite obvious. You know the setup cost, you know machine running, you know procurement, and you know delivery. So you can more or less pick up what could be the driver be for all the 4 costs. So find the rate, then allocate overheads to the 3 products, divide by the total unit, then you will get the overheads per unit. Now you try that. Right, so the first thing is to work out the cost driver rate. Now you have all in 4 cost driver, 4 cost pool, okay? So one cost is machine setup. So you just follow how many categories they give you. The other one is machine running. And then you have procurement. Then you have delivery costs. Now the overheads, 26550, 66,004, 48, 54, 320. Now we must use this overhead divided by the cost driver. And what's the cost driver? Well, the cost driver will be looking at the cost if it's set up. Which one do you think will drive setup cost? Which one is the driver for setup cost? The nearest should be production run, right? Because one run should be one setup. So if that's the case, they're saying there's 16 run in a year. That means that's the run you need for product A, product B, and product C. Now there's 36 run. Well, machine running cost, what driver do you think is going to be? Machine hours. Looks like it has to be machine hours. And how many machine hours you're having? Well, I think you're going to calculate again, right? So 15,000. Okay, 15,000 times 0.5 is 75. 12,000 0.7 is 84. And then 18,000 0.9 is 16.2. So 7584. So 32,100. Now then for procurement, looks like you're buying, right? Procurement. Then you got to take the number of purchase order. So number of purchase order in total is 24, 28, 42. So there's 94 POs. And the last one, delivery cost, has to be number of delivery. What else, right? Okay. So there'll be 48, 30, 62. So there's 140 deliveries. Okay, so that's my cost driver rate. Or you can still call it as OAR, it doesn't matter. Cost driver rate or overhead absorption rate. So machine setup will be 737.5 per run. .06. The questions got say decimal point. Don't have, then 2.6069 per machine hour. 48,000 divided 94. 510.638 per purchase order. And then 388 per delivery. Okay, once you have the rate, you will then allocate this back to your product, right? So this is the second step. Now we do the overheads absorption. So you have product A, product B, product C. Right, first we will absorb machine setup costs. So what do? You take the number of setup, right? So here we have 16 run, and every run is 737.5. Okay. Alright, so 16 737.5 is 11,008. And then we have 12 run, so 8850. And then we have 8 run, 5,009. Okay, then for machine running, now the rate is 2.069 per hour, and you have 7,500 hour. So we get 11518. Now I'm just going to round it to the nearest dollar, because anyway after you divide by the number of units, the decimal point makes no difference. Okay. Now there are two ways of doing it. Now some people they will take this figure and this figure, then minus the total, which is 66,004 to get the balancing. Some people do like that. Now I just want to let you know is there's no difference, because whatever numbers you do at the end after you divide, the result is so small that it makes no difference. So you don't have to be so particular. Okay, so we are not so particular here about the dollar and cents, because we are talking about a very big amount that turns into a very small amount. So there's no issue. Okay, now for B, okay, 2.069 multiplied by 8,004, we have 17380. For C, 2.069 multiplied with 16,002, we have 33,518. Okay, then we go on with procurement costs. Right, procurement wise, we have the rate as 510.638 per purchase order, and we have 24 purchase order for A. So 510.638 times 24, 12255, 24 times 28, 14298. Then 28, 42, 21447. The last one here is the delivery cost. Okay, now I got no space today. I won't show the working. Okay, else later I can't fit into the answer. Now my delivery cost is 3A per delivery, and I have 48 delivery here. So we have 18624. Then divide 48 times 30. 11,640 divide 30 times 62, 24,56. Right, that's it, class. So the overheads that we allocated to all the three products according to the activities consumed will come to 54,197 for product A, and we have 15,000 unit for product A, right? So once you divide back with 15,000, you're gonna get 3 point. Total correct. Yeah, I made a mistake here. Why my number so small? Okay, the machine running is 15518. Okay. So it's 58,197. Then we get 3.88 per unit. So for product B, $52,168, and we produce 12,000 units. That comes to 4.35 per unit. $84,921, and we produce 18,000 units. So that comes 4.72 per unit. Okay, Alright, now just go back and fill it in. So 388, 4.35 and 4.72. 776, 10.17 and 12.48. Okay, now part C, they say using your calculation from part A and part B, explain how the activity-based costing will help you. Okay, what's the issue do you see now with the amount that they have calculated? They talk about profitability. So usually if they talk about profitability, then you should focus on the profit. So if you want to focus on the profit, what do you notice? What do you notice? This is the cost per unit using the traditional. This is the cost per unit using activity-based costing. Now we probably notice that if you're using on traditional system, which is what they're doing right now, right? They are selling A at 7.5. Okay, they're selling at, I just write the selling price here to compare, 7.5, 12 and 13. Okay, so if you look at the situation, then you probably will say that product C is loss making, right? Now if product C is loss making, now what are you going to do? Well, probably there'll be maybe two things you might want to do. One is you increase the selling price. Below my cost, you increase from $13, you increase to 14. Okay? Or the other way is you don't sell so many units of C. You just try to market more product A and product B. And then try not to sell so many C, but if people want to buy, you sell. Okay? Now probably you're going to end up doing that. But you know the traditional way of analyzing overhead is not accurate, right? Because you don't go back into looking at why the costs are being created. So that's why the more accurate way should be using activity-based costing, where you trace back the activities consumed by the product. And when you start tracing back activities consumed by product, and what do you notice now is these three amounts. And the big problems that we're seeing right now is what? Actually, product A that is selling right now, that you think is profitable, is the one that is loss-making. And you imagine that you concentrate on pushing product A and B, when every unit of A that you sell is actually incurring losses. So in the long run, you will start to feel like why the business is like so good, but then we still make loss. Okay, but that's because you incur loss. Okay, now I don't see a big issue with product B because the cost turns out to be more or less the same. Okay, but product C is going to be a big problem as well. Now the problem is you say you might going to increase the selling price. It's one of the solutions. But when you start increasing the selling price, what will happen? In the market when you have all other competitors, that let's say if you're using activity-based costing and they're aware that the cost is lower, then they will probably price their product cheaper than yours. For example, maybe they also price at $13. Now you say I'm going to sell at 13.5, then people are not buying. Yes, you make a lot of profit at 13.5, let's say. Now let's say increase to 13.5. You make a lot of profit, but you can't sell the product. So what's the point? So this is the important issues that you have to highlight. Okay. Now, so when we explain the answers in part C, now Gadget would have assessed the profitability of its product using costs derived under the traditional overhead absorption. And this would indicate that the selling price presently is loss making for product C. And Gadget might increase selling price of C so that it generates a fair profit. Focus on selling A and B that appears more profitable. Now, however, the decision above would be wrong, or you can say dysfunctional, because the costs derived using the traditional overhead are inaccurate. Now the ABC approach, which is more accurate, has shown that the present selling price is loss making for product A. And Gadget can rely on the more accurate costing to make right decision, including increasing the selling price of A market the more lucrative product. So your decision will come completely opposite. Okay? Now, so this would help Gadget improves its profitability by avoiding selling A at loss, avoiding increasing selling price of C that can put pressure on the sales demand, and then promoting the more lucrative product. Okay. There's a very fair, straightforward questions on ABC. Okay. I think usually you look at questions on ABC, it's always like that. What else that they normally ask, right? Okay? Right, I'll go on with another area. Okay, now so the second modern MA area is called target pricing. Okay, well, target pricing is something we covered long time ago when we started pricing chapter. Okay, but it's one of the modern MA area. So I'm going to show you questions on that area. Now you just turn to page 47. So usually when they ask you to do target pricing, they might want you to calculate cost gap. Okay. Page 47. Done. No. Okay, the requirement is to calculate the average cost for the first 128 chairs made, and then identify any cost gap. Page 47, okay? Identify any cost gap that may be present at that stage. And then they say, assuming if there is a cost gap for the chair, now suggest 4 ways that you can close it. So usually if you see there's a cost gap, what can we do to eliminate the gap? But if you don't eliminate the gap, then you can't achieve the target price. Okay. Now, so that's A and B lah. We look at A and B first. Now, Big Cheese Chair manufactures and sells executive leather chair. They are considering a new design of massaging chair to launch into the competitive market in which they operate. Now they have carried out an investigation in the market and using a target costing system have targeted a competitive selling price of $120 for the chair. Now BCC wants a margin on selling price of 20%, ignoring overhead. The frame and the massage mechanism will be bought in for $51 per chair, and BCC will upholster it in leather and assemble it ready for dispatch. Leather costs $10 per meter, and 2 meters are needed to complete a chair, although 20% of the leather is wasted in the upholstery process. The upholstery and assembly process was subject to a learning effect as the worker get used to the new design, and BCC estimates that the first chair will take 2 hours to prepare, but this is subject to a learning rate of 95%. Now the learning improvement will stop once 128 chairs have been made, and the time for the 128 chairs will be the time for all subsequent chairs. The cost of the labor is $15 an hour. Now the learning formula is shown on the formula sheet, and that 95% learning rate of the value of B is given. So they have given you so you don't have to calculate log 0.95 divided by log 2. That's the value. Okay. Alright, now the first thing you must do for me is a very simple requirement with very few things, only about frame, leather, labor cost, then you can work out what's the cost of it. Okay, so I just want to know what is the cost gap. Now what do you mean by cost gap? The difference between the actual cost with the target cost. Okay, now try this. they want us to find what is the cost gap. So you can start with your target cost per chair. Now the target price of the chair is 120. You minus your target profit. How many percent they want as profit? 20. So that's 24. That means your target cost per chair is 96. Okay, target costing, so you must find what's the target cost. Okay. Okay, then what's the expected or the actual cost? Okay, the expected cost. Now the first cost they tell us is the frame and the massage mechanism, which costs $51. Okay, then they tell us that you have to pay for ladder. I think ladder they mentioned you need 10 meters, $10 per meter. Okay, then you need 2 meters, but there is a 20% wastage. So I need to buy more, right, to cater for the wastage. So I will take $10 times 2 meter divide with 0.8. Okay, then for labor costs, then we got to work out what is the hours. Now they say that the average cost for the first 128 chair. They're asking for average cost for 128. So if it's average cost means you're taking the average labor hour. So you must see the difference, right? So the average labor hour will be very simple. You just need the formula. What is Y? Okay. So the labor rate is $15. Then you're working. Now Y equals to AX power of B. A will be how many hours for the first unit? They mentioned that 2 hours. So if you want to find average for 128, then X is 128 lah. Then power of negative 0.074000581. Negative 0.074000581. Now we get something like 1.3966. Okay, so if your rate is 1.39667, then multiply by 15, well, it comes to about 20.95. Okay, 20.95, or you want to round, you can round to 21. 20.95, so it's very close to, I just round it to 21. Okay, so the cost is 97. Now this is my cost gap. is $1. Okay, so the cost is higher by $1. Alright, part B. Okay, they ask you, they're assuming if there is a cost gap, you just suggest 4 ways that you can remove or eliminate the cost gap. So what do you do? Now, as usual, we suggest, I just put down the point. The most effective way is to do a redesign of the product. Okay, you must redesign the chair. Now when you redesign the chair, then you must aim to remove non-value added element or functions that are not valued by customer. Because if you have function that they are not valued by customer, then there is no use value. And if there's no use value, you don't have to put it in. Because you put in and you don't put in, there's no difference. Huh? Okay? So that's why you have to look into that. Now, so example, maybe you thought of reducing the screws. Okay, if there's a wheel, alright. Now, so usually redesigning by removing the non-value added item. Now, the size of the chair make a lot of difference, right? Because if your size is bigger, you need more leather, you need more material. So you may think of reducing the size of the chair. Okay, so you may consider reducing size of the chair, and you can save on your material. Okay, now you can consider replacing materials that with something cheaper. So can you use any material substitute that can be cheaper? For example, like maybe I can go for semi-synthetic leather, so it's half leather. Maybe I can use full leather on the place you sit, but half leather at the back, because you don't feel the back. Okay, so that's why there are example of how you can cut costs. You see, now of course one thing that we can see is not value added is the losses. Now they say that there will be a 20% loss as a result of the upholstery process. Now if you don't have the 20% loss, you will save $5, because the loss alone, because of the 20%, instead of $20, you become $25. Okay, so there's a 20% loss on the upholstery process. Now if you can eliminate the loss, you already save $5. Okay, now you write properly, but I'm just giving examples, some suggestion what you can do. Okay, now some will say that can we buy an alternative frame or massage mechanism? Maybe you can find another supplier. That one in supplier can offer you at $50. And then $50 you save $1, you hit your target cost. Okay. Alright, now this is part B. Okay, look at part C now. Now part C comes a bit with the issue of the learning curve. Now they say that the production manager denies any claim that the cost gap exists. And he has stated that the cost of the 128th chair will be low enough to give you the required margin. Now, that means he's saying that the reason why you see that the cost gap is because you are taking the average of the 1 to 8. And the average is at the beginning the cost is high, then it slowly go down. That's why the cost turns out to be still high. He said, but if you go and calculate the actual cost at the 128, then you will see that there's no cost gap. So is it true or not? I think you must go and calculate the actual cost. So that's part C. What is the actual cost at the 128 chair. Now we just need to work out the labor cost. So work out for me, what is the labor cost at the 128? Your frame and massage is the same. The ladder also the same. So now it's only the labor. So you gotta find the actual cost for the 128 chair. So the actual cost for the 128 chair, you must know the hour lah, correct no? Okay, so I put the working here. Now we take the labor hour for 128 chair minus the labor hour for 127 chair. Now the labor hour for 128 is 128 times 139,667. You don't need to calculate what the figure is there anyway, okay? 128 times 139,667. Now we get 178,77376 hours. Okay, 127. Okay, this one you're gonna work out again. That means you're gonna change this to 2 times 127 power of B. Okay? So 2 times 127 power of negative 0.074000581. Now I think we get 1.39749. This is 17748,123. So 1.29253 multiplied by $15, it comes to about 19.4. So these become your actual cost. Now after you get these, then state your conclusion, right? Is it true? Yes or no? Because the target cost is 96. This is only 95.4, which means the manager said already, okay, that by the time you come here, you will get 95.4, which is below 96. Okay. All right. Now I just want to show a very short, quick one in page 83. I just want to do one part, 6 marks with you. Okay, page 83. Now we learned about life cycle costing last Wednesday before we end. Okay, so I said I'll show you an example of how examiner tests you life cycle. Now this question is the questions on life cycle. Okay, now usually life cycle more or less is like that okay, probably the details can be a bit different, but they're more or less asked in this manner. Now they want you to work out the life cycle cost per unit. Okay, that means you calculate for the whole life cycle of the product, when you start until the end. Take all the costs, divide by all the units. That's how you get life cycle cost. Okay. Now it says FIT specializes in the manufacture of a small range of high-tech products for the fitness market, page 83. Okay. Now they are currently considering the development of new types of fitness monitor, which will be the first of its kind in the market, and it would take 1 year to develop, with sales then commencing at the beginning of year 2. That means year 1 is development. Okay, so usually we say year 1 is year 0. But anyway, you say year 1 is development. Now year 2 only you start to sell the product. Okay, then year 2 only you got sales. Okay, now the product is expected to have a life cycle of 2 years before it is replaced with a technologically superior product, and the following cost estimate have been made. So they give you year 1, year 2, and year 3. Now let's see what they tell us. Okay, they tell us the unit manufactured and sold, research and development costs, product design costs, marketing costs, which includes the marketing costs, then the manufacturing cost, which includes the variable cost and the fixed production cost. The distribution cost, same thing, the variable cost and the fixed distribution cost. Selling also the same, the variable and the fixed, and finally the admin. Now just ignore time value of money. That means you don't have to do discounting. Because usually a project involves many years. Technically you must discount it to present value. Alright, but here they say don't need. FI does not involve discounting of cash flow. Now, how do you want to present your answer? Okay, it's up to you. It's up to you. If you think you want to show it year 1, year 2, year 3, okay, what are the costs? Go ahead. At the end, the important is you want the total. Okay, you want the total, divide by the total unit. Or you think that the questions got not very difficult adjustment and very straightforward, you want to calculate everything together, they just show the total straight. Okay, so it depends on what they want you to do in the question. Now I don't see anything else that I'll need here from the question, so I just need the life cycle cost. Okay, so fit. Now just do part A. But part B is again on learning curve. So just do part A. Now just do in total. In total, the life cycle cost per unit. In the whole life cycle. Okay? Okay. The first thing I have is what? Alright, they tell me we incur research and development costs 160. Okay, then they say product design costs 800. Okay, then they have marketing costs. Okay, marketing costs, they have three amount for three different year. Okay, so we have 1.2, 1 plus 1.75. That means it comes to 2.2, 3.95. Now I think I've shown you the way to start. So you just go on here, okay, just fill in the rest of the amount and get me the life cycle cost. So it's not a very difficult question. So the variable marketing, now the cost is changing over the year, so that's why you have to calculate one by one. 40 plus 42 times 200 . $12.4 million. Okay, then the fixed production, sorry, not manufacturing, not marketing, manufacturing. Fixed production manufacturing, 650 plus 1.29 million. So it's 1940. Okay, then followed by the variable distribution, 4 times 100, 4.5 times 200. Right, that's 1.3 million. And then we have the fixed distribution, which comes to 120 plus 120. Then we have your selling. So the variable selling is 3 times 100, 3.2 times 200, 640,940. Right, then we have the fixed selling, now finally is the administration cost. So the administration will be 200 plus 900 plus 1.5 million, so 1.5 plus 1.1, 2.6. That's it, no? Oh, I mean, you look at it. What kind of question is this? Okay, it's like standard 5 question. Plus, 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 then divide. Okay. So the only thing that you need is you must understand what is called life cycle cost per unit. You only need to know what is that. You know what is that, then this question becomes standard 5 question. Okay. Now you don't know what is that, then this question can be a university PhD level question. You really don't know what to do. Okay. Now, so once you know what is called a life cycle cost, you just add up all the costs. So this is the life cycle cost. Okay, then we divide it by the total unit in the life cycle, which is 300,000 unit. Okay, then you get your answer. Follow? Okay, that's it. So I just want to show this question to let you know what is called life cycle cost. Okay. All right. Now turn to page 107. Okay, 107. Right. Now we take a look at the one and only question that examiner tested on decision tree together with value for perfect information. Okay. Now A. Okay, using the criterion of the expected value, prepare and fully label a decision tree that shows the 2 options available to GB that recommend the decision that GB should take. Now again, ignore time value of money. Okay, so you're going to do some drawing now. Okay. Alright, then B, they ask you to calculate the maximum price that GB should pay for perfect information about expansion, exact effect on membership numbers. And then briefly discuss the problems of using expected value for decision of this nature. Okay, we read the case. Gym Bunnies GB is a health club. Well, it currently has 6,000 members, with each member paying a subscription fee of $720 per annum. The club is comprised of a gym, a swimming pool, and a small exercise studio. A competitor company is opening a new gym in GB's local area, and this is expected to cause a fall in GB's membership's number unless GB can improve its own facility. Now consequently, GB is considering whether or not to expand its exercise studio in a hope to improve its membership numbers, and any improvements are expected to last 3 years. Okay, 3 years. Now, option 1, there's no expansion, and in this case the numbers will be expected to fall to 5,250 per annum for the next 3 years. That means it will be the same for every year. If it's the same for every year, you just calculate 1 year, then times 3 in another year. Okay. Now the operational cost would stay at the current level of $80 per member per annum. Okay, option 2. You expand the exercise studio. The capital cost would be $360,000. The expected effect on the membership numbers for the next 3 years is as follows. Now there is a 40% that it remain at the current level of 6,000 members per annum. or it will increase to 6,500 members per annum. And the effect of the operational cost for the next 3 years is expected to be increasing to 120 per member per annum, or increasing to 180 per member per annum. Okay. So the story is so simple. There's only two options. One option is don't expand. The other option is you expand. If you expand, then you don't know what the numbers you're going to get, which can be 6 or 6.5, and you do not know what cost you're going to pay, which can be 1, 2, or 1.8. And then based on this, which option you think is better? Now, of course, the first option, there's no expected value because there's no probability. If you don't do anything, it will just be 5250, no expansion cost. Option 2, you're going to have expansion costs. You're going to see uncertainty. You're going to work out the expected value. So I believe you should know what to do, right? So the decision tree will start with 2 branches. Option 1, option 2, and then go on and draw. Okay, try this. Right. So a decision, a choice will start with a square, right? So you have two options. So the examiner gave option 1, option 2 lah. Okay, so option 1 and option 2. Now option 1, no probability. So the cash flow would just be how many people? 5250. Right? Okay. Now I just show here lah, but usually you do a working separately. Okay. So you just show in working. But I just show here. So 5250 times 720 minus 80. Alright? Okay, 720 minus 80. That means you're gonna get 3360. Okay. If you go for option 2, then you have uncertainty about the members. So they say there's a 40% chance and 60% chance that it will have 6,000 and 6,005. And then the uncertainty will be with the cost, which is 50-50. Okay? Right. Now when you go for option 2, it means you need an expansion. Okay? So the expansion will already cost you 360,000. So your overhead cost will become 120. That means your contribution per unit will be 720 minus 120. So you get 600 per member. Just per U lah. Okay, if it's 180, right, then it will be 540 lah. So my cash flow will be 6,000 times 600, then minus 360. So it's 3240. 6,000 times 540 minus 360, 2880. Then 6,005 times 600 minus 360, 3540. Then 6,005 times 540 minus 360, 3150. But this one you need expected value. So 3240 times 0.4.5 is 648. 2880 times 0.4.5 is 756. 3540.6.5 is 1062. And this is 945. Yeah, I forgot it's 3 year lah. I just remembered now it's 3 year. Then I don't want to minus the 360. We have 360 only one off only. Sorry. Okay. I just remembered now it's 3 year project. If not, then later the number doesn't make sense. Okay. Sorry. So 6,000 times 600 is 3,006.4.5. 720. 6,540. 0.4.5 is 648. 6,600 is 3,009. 6.5 is 117. 540 is 3510. 6.5 is 1053. Okay, so 720, 648, 1170, 1053 will be 3591. Okay, for the 3-year evaluation, that means this cash flows, if I times 3, will be 10.08 million. Now this cash flow, if I times 3, is 10.773 million. Then I minus 0.36. So I get 10,413. Okay? Sorry, I forgot the 3 here. If let's say I minus out, then I cannot do like that. Then later I will forward. Okay? Now, so the investment cost is just one-off only. So I just got to minus ones at the end. So which option is better then? Option 2 lah, correct not? Because option 2 gives me 10.413 million, whereas option 1 only give me 10.08. So you will cross out option 1. Then you give your recommendation. Okay, now option 2 has a higher expected value of return at 10.413 million than option 1 that has a return of 10.08. Therefore, the expansion decision should be taken. Okay, now, so now they ask you in part B. Okay, see carefully what they ask. They ask you what is the value of perfect information on the expansion based on the membership numbers. Okay, so this is what they're asking. The value of perfect information on the expansion based on the membership numbers. Okay, now you see the membership numbers, they say it can be either 6,000 or 6,005. Okay, so now if it's 6,000 and 6,005, will there be a difference to your choice? Okay. Now, if we say that whether it's 6,000 or 6,005, my choice is the same, then obviously I don't have a value for perfect information because there's only one choice. Alright. Now value of perfect information arises because you have different choices that is due to the uncertainty. So that's why, how do you calculate value for perfect information? What's the formula again? You take what minus what? Expected value without uncertainty minus expected value with uncertainty. Now the expected value with uncertainty is the expected value now, whatever you're doing right now, which is 10.413, correct or not? So that's 10.413, and you're going to find what is this. Then you get value for perfect information. Okay, try this for me. So if the members are 6,000, will you still go for expansion? Members are 6,000. Now you still have an uncertainty with the operational cost. Okay, so you still have to apply the expected value. Alright, so if you apply the expected value, you realize that your 3006 times 0.5, 3240 times 0.5, you're gonna get 3420. Okay, 36 times 0.5, 324 times 0.5. Okay, then you times 3 here, then minus 360. Now you're gonna get 9.9 million. Now this is expansion. Will you go for expansion then? I won't go for expansion already, right? Because expansion give me 9.9. If I don't expand, it give me 10.08. So it's better not to expand. Option 1 is taken. Okay, if you have members of 6,005, then it's 39 times 0.5, 3510 times 0.5 times 3 here times 360 minus 360. That will give me 10.755 million. Now, expansion is good because it's higher. So I'll choose expansion. So that means my EV will be 10.08 times 0.4, and then 10,755 times 0.6, because this 0.4 is the expected value when the members are 6,000. This 0.6 is the expected value when members are 6,005. So this is what happened. If I know what is going to happen, this is my decision. So the decision will give me the highest outcome. Okay. So 10,080. It will give me 10,485. So 10,485. That means 72,000 is the value of perfect information. Okay? Okay. Now this is part B. Right, the last part of the requirement they ask you. Now discuss the problem of using expected value for decision of this nature. Now, remember I told you the story about buying 4D, and I say that if you have a special dream, that you got a special feeling, that there's a very special reason, then you don't mind go and gamble. But if you want to gamble every day, every time, and then until 10 years later, you shouldn't do that, right? Because in the long run, you always lose, right? Now, that is the difference between expected value. You know, expected value of gambling is always losing. And if you keep on doing it again and again and again, you end up lose more than you win. But if you only do one time, you cannot use expected value. Because expected value requires something to recur, so that you give yourself the average result. Now this is a situation that you cannot use expected value, because the expansion is one-off. So if the expansion is one-off, it's really not feasible for you to use expected value to predict, because you're not going to do this again and again. Okay, so I just put the point here. I got no space again. So part C. Now, is a one-off decision, but EV is more suitable for recurring event. Okay, so you can read the answer at the back, so to see how they can write. Okay, now this is one issues that we see. Okay, number two, I think end of the day we must really look at the behavior or the attitude of the decision maker, correct? Because you cannot straight away say let's use expected value and evaluate. What if the decision maker is a risk taker? What if he is a risk averse guy? So the end of the day, the attitude is very important. EV is only meant for risk neutral decision maker, but in the case we are not sure. They didn't tell us whether the decision maker is neutral or risk taker or what. So that's why without that, you find it very hard to assess what decision you're going to make. Okay. Now there will be two problems you can include for the 2 marks. Okay. Right. So there's question 1 on decision tree. Okay, we take a short break. Come back, then we'll look at other questions.